So I'm just learning about this bag lady. I am 99% sure that I've met her here. And I was just kind of curious what the scam is and maybe what the backstory is, but there was a woman with white hair, and then I watched a video of her talk, and then it dawned on me. So I go to Safeway, and there's this lady in one of these little stroller seat things sitting there with a cart full of bags. But I was looking at the bags and like, there's not really any groceries in there. And it's all in a cart. And so that's a pretty weird scenario, for one. I thought it was really strange, so I just decided to talk to her. I typically talk to the homeless or the elderly. And she asked her what she's doing. She says she likes looking at people and watching people. And I thought that was kind of strange. I thought maybe one of those buses were coming to pick her up or something. You know, that transit buses for like the elderly and stuff so they can go to the store. She never mentioned that. She asked for a ride. So I'm a little suspicious, but at the same time, like, she pulls it really. She has like this really sweet, innocent voice at first. And then she asked me for a ride. Right, so well, at that time I had some car batteries in the front of my Jeep, some sticks, like I have my fancy sticks that I like to find in the forest, and jumper cables and whatnot, some other stuff like oil and a grease gun, and there was a bunch of stuff up front that like it would take me a while to move, and so then she asked me for an Uber or a Lyft, and watching one of the other videos, she asked for an Uber or a Lyft. So it like when you stick to your budget, it avoids scammers. I mean, she almost fooled me. Like it didn't kind of make any sense. The whole setup. And she's sitting there with a cart full of things. How did she get there? That's one thing I was wondering. It's like, this is like your kid or your something or your grandchild coming to get you, and she's like, no. And after she realized she couldn't get a ride, or because she didn't have anywhere that she needed to go, that was another really suspicious thing. And it's been so long. It was just one random encounter, but then it just dawned on me. It's hard to remember the entire conversation. Very, she had the exact same like stern look on her mouth. You couldn't make her laugh or anything, and like she didn't say she had anywhere to go in Estes, and I thought that was really strange. And she didn't have anybody coming to pick her up, but she's asking for rides or an Uber. And so, that's a big clue that there's something funny going on. And what else was there? Right, after she realized I wouldn't give her a lift or order an Uber, she got really sort of quiet and brushed me off, and not as her voice completely changed. It's like, just leave, sort of thing. Anyway. So that's my encounter of her. I guess she does it so that she can like travel around and her body doesn't appear to be in the best shape, but she could be faking it all. I've seen plenty of people like that. I don't know what's wrong with them. They do shit like that. I'm trying to work it out. Like, I think she's poor. She's probably homeless. And this is the only thing she can think of doing. Because she's, gotten some success from it. And then other people were more kind. So then she starts to rely on it. And with the reduction of EBT in Colorado, and Colorado has a high demand for labor for EBT. They don't just give people free money. You have to actually go out and perform a job. And let alone could she then afford a home, so who knows where she sleeps. I mean, it says she's all over the place. Castle Rock, Littleton. I am pretty sure she was here in Estes. So maybe she does it just to travel, too. Yeah, it was all those types of bags. She's living out of a suitcase. Somehow she stays clean, though. Gets what she can from people. And, when I was homeless, uh, playing guitar, sometimes you can make a good amount of money to get you through another day or two or three. Luckily, I had a car, so I was just living out of my car, but when you're sleeping on the streets, though, that's rough. And it just gets you worse and worse and worse. It puts you down this fucking hill where you just spiral. And I've had to wash my clothes in a river once. Then you start to smell like a river. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. You can use like grass and stuff to dry your clothes, and you smell like grass. You learn how to use natural fragrances. We would also fly signs, is what they called it. These kids that taught me, which is just holding up a sign, and you had to do it on certain days. But it only really works when you're young to do that. And I don't know. Being homeless sucks. Like, it's fucking horrible. I'm just glad I didn't pick somebody up that would have peed in my car. Probably told her too, I live on a strict budget. I don't have a lot of extra gas. Like, I barely have enough gas. And, I don't know. Part of me misses traveling, though. Like, I get why she's doing it. This is the only way that she can, push through. What if she's starving? Like, she hasn't eaten, nobody's helped her, and you do give her a ride. And she has nowhere to go, in honesty. She's just seeing where life takes her, I'm thinking. And so, she holds you ransom for urine. Oh, that's crazy. I wonder what she does in the winter. I remember living out of my car in Boise, and I found some guys that would run a sort of a hospice, and they denied me. They just told me to go live in my car. So they were mainly looking for people that or sleeping in fucking dumpsters and shit to stay warm. Covering themselves in trash to insulate themselves if they have to. And that whole underground world is pretty rough. Luckily, I had a talent, that I could exploit. I could play music on the street. But in Colorado, downtown mall, I would busk there, and I never made any money. I would play for like 6 hours straight and make just enough for the parking meter. Barely enough to buy a burger. That's probably why I only eat once a day. And there's lots of stories, but we get mad at these people for resorting to tactics that they don't know how to do anything else. And that's why a lot of people want like free energy. If we could just figure that out, it would help so many more people. But then that mentality lives on in society, but then you have the same mentality of I'm not going to help other people. So when you live like that, all you're doing is making it worse for the genuine people that want to, I don't know, that actually might enjoy working or building or doing whatever activities that society's formed around. And then they're less willing to help. It's just like the 1920s again. Ironically. It's 2020s. It's like we're in this 100-year cycle. And maybe she enjoys it, I don't know. Scamming. Or maybe she just has to do it and she wants to see Colorado. And there's no other way to do it. And then she gets spiteful because somebody helps her a little bit, but she wants more, or maybe she needs more. It's hard to say. Colorado's not an easy place to survive. And it's only become worse. And we're pretending like all these jobs are so great that you just matter more because you cleaned a hotel room. Providing services for one another, ironically. I think once you start to rationalize through all the variables, that we're going to start to realize that communism always wins. Through the longest standing empire, it's what's developed. Honestly, Earth just sucks. This country sucks. Every other country sucks. What do you do? I don't know. Met some really weird people in the street and some really great people. Lots of schizophrenics. They're all over the place. Sometimes they deserve help, other times you just can't trust them. Anytime you experience anything good, typically they have a manic period and then they go crazy. Manic lows are the ones you don't want to trust because then they have psychotic episodes. Because they can't control their brain, they want to control other people. So then they have sociopathic tendencies. It's all about them, that they can't rationalize for or against it. Growing up around schizophrenia is fucking awful. She could be one. I wouldn't doubt it. That would make sense. I had a food scam back in the day. And I would only go to like McDonald's for this because they were the highest profiting fast food chain, and the quality was terrible at that time. You know, that's when they had that pink slime stuff. But it kept you alive, and it was affordable. However, so the trick was find one with the 2 drive-throughs. So then you go, you listen to the other car when they're about to be done ordering, and you tell them you just want water, and then you drive right ahead of that car as their order's just being pulled in, and then you tell the first window that you just ordered water. Sometimes they would report that this is the car that wants water, but you'd have like a 50% success rate of getting somebody else's food that they just bought. And then they remake it for them anyway, so it was like no harm, no foul. But if you're starving, that was a good way to get food. Because they can't take the food back after they hand it out the window. And when you're homeless, another way too is just going inside and waiting for somebody that might walk to the bathroom or something, and then their order's delivered. This is all the people's orders. You just grab it and leave when everybody's backs are turned. That's how I used to get food from McDonald's when I didn't have any money. Eat an apple, drink an orange juice at Walmart. Because at some certain points, like, all my money went into gas. Open mics too are really well. Some of them will give you a free beer, but if you ask, they might give you some free food, because beer tends to cost sometimes. Well, back then it did as much as like an appetizer or something. So you play for them, find the ones that offer you a free beer for playing. And yeah, being homeless sucks. there's got to be a system that we can work out, you know? Like, I know printing more money is a problem, and people exploit it, just like during COVID. We needed to stimulate the economy, but all people did was move here to Colorado and buy up all the properties, so the property values just fucking skyrocketed. And after that, they started renting them all out, and you get that fucking rental service. So basically, you're buying people homes. They're taking advantage of customers to buy them the property, even though the property's on lease. Like, we're the reason that we can't have human decency like that. Afforded opportunities, and you just exploit it thinking you deserve everything. And then you're just stuck here. I think that's all I have to say.